My thoughts on the direction of the USA. Um, the US is headed in the direction that every other country is already in a lot of cases, especially like the third world developing countries. The US is essentially headed that direction when it comes to inflation. A lot of the stress and the depression and the anxiety and a lot of the elements of today's society, the declining birth rate, is due to inflation. If you can't afford it, you won't do it. And so, um, as long as we're printing currency, our dollar is being devalued. Now, it's being devalued at a slower rate and velocity than every other currency, but it's still being devalued. And a lot of people are feeling it. When you can't afford basic, groceries, basic utilities, you can't afford rent. It's a mixture of greed and inflation. The people that don't suffer under inflation are people that own assets because the money accumulates all in the same places. Where the S&P 500, and honestly, only like the top seven companies in the S&P 500 benefit the most. Nvidia's, the Facebooks, the Apples, the Googles, they benefit from inflation the most. But the S&P 500 is typically where everyone's money kind of pools at the end of the day because those are the pillars of society. The Johnson and Johnson companies, the WalMarts, the Targets. Well, not so much Target, but their current issues with DI and the like. Um, but yeah, the U.S. is on borrowed time. The U.S. has been on borrowed time ever since they stole land from people that were already here. And I'm trying to avoid this tangent. But yeah, African Americans aren't African. We're native. We were already here. We are North Americans. And so that's a whole thing. Go enjoy that rabbit hole when you get some time. But yeah, this is stolen land. And you can tell by the people who can't go outside for any amount of time without burning. Yeah, it's not overcast here. You know where it is overcast? In the UK, man. How much sunscreen do you think gets sold in the UK? How many people do you think apply sunscreen before they leave their homes in the UK? There's a correlation there. I'm not saying it's causation, but if you can't go sit in the sun, how do you think your people would have lasted over the generations? It's too much. Too much. But yeah, the US, it's a great country in terms of, I can't even say that, honestly. I'm grateful for the US. I'm definitely grateful for the US because it gave me a lot of opportunities I currently have. And so by no means can I just erase all of the American ingenuity and the people that are currently here. They weren't there back in the day when people were being enslaved and murdered and raped and all these things. I can't blame people that are here today now. But yeah, people suffered for us to have iPhones. People died. People were beaten and raped and enslaved over the luxuries that we currently enjoy. And so it's a mixture. But yeah, the US, I don't know. Bitcoin is going to change a lot. It already has. A lot of people are just they have no clue. But yeah, the world is going to change when the money changes, and you'll notice. Yeah, I've met so many highly intelligent people in South America. People from Brazil, engineers everywhere. I've never met so many engineers than when I was in Colombia. They're everywhere. Now, of course, it has a lot to do with areas that I frequent. It attracts a certain type of person. But you will notice that they are no different than us. They speak a different language. They have different customs, and they tend to value family more. But when it comes to just human ingenuity and intellect, there's no difference between Americans and Colombians and Americans and Dominicans. The money's broken. The money's broken. So yeah, the U.S. is just on a downward slide only because of the money. The money's broken.